നമസ്കാരം, ഞാൻ കവിരാജ് അമ്പലപ്പുഴ. എൻ്റെ ആസ്ട്രേലിയൻ സോളോ ട്രാവലുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട 4ാമത്തെ എപ്പിസോഡാണ് ഇത്. സിഡ്നിയിലെ സിറ്റി വാക്ക് ടൂർ തുടരുകയാണ്. ഇതിനെ നയിക്കുന്നത് ഒരു ആസ്ട്രേലിയൻ തദ്ദേശീയവാസിയായ ഒരു യുവാവാണ്. അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് വിശദീകരണങ്ങളോടുകൂടിയാണ് ഞാൻ എല്ലാം ചിത്രീകരിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. സബ് ടൈറ്റിൽസ് ഞാൻ ആക്ടിവേഷൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള ലാംഗ്വേജ് തിരഞ്ഞെടുത്ത് നിങ്ങൾക്കിത് ആസ്വദിക്കാം. നമുക്ക് അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ വിശദീകരണത്തിലേക്ക് ഒന്ന് കിടക്കാം.
Feat, some might say, but to do any of this building, he needed himself an architect. But I'll talk about that architect in just a moment as we get across the road right here, which should go green in just a moment. So we'll get ready, everyone. Coming over this way. Now we'll cross over again. Actually, the wall might be better. Yeah, we'll go here. Just line up on the wall a little bit. Very common. Well, I might get cooked out here as well. All right, everyone. So, to do any of this building Macquarie wanted to do, he needed himself an architect. And thankfully, he found his favourite architect by the name of Francis Greenway. Francis Greenway was a convict sentenced to 14 years transportation for the forging of financial documents. But thankfully, he was a much better architect than he was a forger and helped build many of the buildings we see around here in Sydney today, including the one right behind me here, the Hyde Park Barracks, which was finished in 1819. And before then, we actually didn't have anywhere to lock up the convicts because we thought, where were they going to go? Were the convicts going to run away in the bush, swim away in the ocean? Either way, they were either going to get lost or bitten by something and pass away. Not a big deal if we lose some convicts, they thought. However, openly robbing and killing each other on the streets. So we thought we'd lock them up for the night, keep them out of trouble in the barracks rides here. Now, these days, no longer used as a barracks, and there's actually a museum inside here. So a lovely museum, one of my favorite spots to go. It's open every day from 10 till 6 p.m. with the last tour at 4:30 p.m. So you can get yourself a little headphone, a little bit of iPod, and walk around the whole place, outside and inside the building as well. Very interesting with some nice sort of convict artifacts inside there as well. So I recommend it. The beginning, it just starts over there at the entry, right over there. But another building Francis Greenway helped design and build is actually just behind us, behind this wall right here, and I can get us to see a bit more shade as well. So we'll actually walk back out this way to another Francis Greenway building, if you like. Hopefully you all got to see it. On the other side was the St. James Church, just behind the leaves over there. And for 50 years, was built in 1824, and for 50 years was the tallest building in all of Sydney. Dream big Sydney, can't even see it over the leaves here, but nowadays the current tallest structure, just behind it over that way, the Sydney Tower. Well, the Westfield Tower used to be known as the Centre Point Tower. It is standing at 309 metres tall, including the antenna, which I think is cheating. But it has a great 360 panoramic view of the city, looking out to the airport, ocean, central coast, and on a clear day, a good 60 kilometres or 40 or so miles out to the Blue Mountains to the west. So some lovely views out that way. $33 for a ticket to the observation deck, or $26 if you buy a day in advance. But before you go there, you could also go to the bar that's up there, about a deck below, called Bar 83. And that has no ticket price, but it does have a $30 minimum spend. But for the same price as the observation deck, you may as well go to the bar, I'd say, and get yourself $30 worth of drinks and enjoy the view just as much, I would say. Skyscrapers and buildings over on this side, so a little tricky to see. So up ahead on the tour, I will mention some other views. You can get some nice views of the Moore Harbour sort of area, so keep an ear out for that one. But on that note, speaking of views, well, we're going to walk just around this way to some more history of the Rum Hospital here in Sydney. So we'll just walk around this way, all right, as well. Hello everyone, quick little walk for that, and we're now at the start of the Rum Hospital here in Sydney. Bit of a strange name. They've got the southern wing here, there's a central wing and a northern wing, which we'll get to. But why the name Rum Hospital? Well, when Macquarie arrived into Sydney, which there's another statue of him actually just there, bit of an ego I might say, when he arrived in Sydney, he realised that the only hospital in Sydney for the past 20 years had been a tent. And he wasn't a big fan of that. He wanted a real hospital. So he wrote to England asking for some money, but they replied back saying, no, you're just a bunch of convicts. Why do you need a big fancy hospital? Obvious reasons, I'd assume, but either way, he had to find a new way to fund his hospital. And he thought about tax. But what can he tax that Sydney-siders love to buy? Rum. They love their rum here in Sydney. It was even used as a currency at one stage. So he went to 3 rum businessmen and told them, I'll give you exclusive rights for the importation and sale of rum for the next 3 years if you use parts of your profits to build me a hospital. Which they did a pretty big job with, I would say. Now the southern wing here, not so much a hospital, many uses over time, but most importantly, it actually became the first branch of the Royal Mint outside of London in 1855. Keep an eye on all the gold during the gold rush. Now these days, no longer used as a mint, and there's actually a museum inside here. So another lovely museum, plenty of museums around here. This one's open on weekdays from 9 till 4 p.m. If you don't know what a mint... Did you have the question about was Australia still... you'll definitely know it's very different. It's really underground, and there's no driver actually as well. So got an upgrade. Yeah, exciting. It was a bit of room, some more room to the right. Yeah, feel free to come up this way a little if you'd like. But everyone, we're now standing at the central wing of the hospital right around here, and we also have the northern wing just over there, which also had a few uses over time. It was surgeons' accommodation, Supreme Court of New South Wales, but these days it is the Parliament House of New South Wales over there, which means our Parliament House was entirely funded and built by rum here in Sydney. Might explain some decisions coming out of there. It may also look similar to the southern wing, but not so much the central wing right here. Well, that's because when you get 3 rum businessmen to build you a hospital, as it was built. We actually had to knock it down in 1878 and rebuilt it back in the 1890s, which is why it's in a similar style to the QVB right here. Now it is still being used as a hospital to this day, mainly focusing on hands and eyes inside here. So another little spot, I'd say. You can also go around the back as well. It's quite nice out there. But at the front, we have the statue right here. And this is Il Porcellino, meaning little pig or little boar in Italian. It was donated in 1868 by an Italian sculptor who's from Italy, which you may recognize, which in itself is a copy of a 2,000-year-old marble statue in Rome. So a few copies around here in the world, but we have our own right here. And he's also supposed to be a water fountain. Does look like he's just drooling most of the time, I'd say. But anyway, the idea is they can donate a coin if you like, which can go towards the hospital. But also, if you'd like to, you can come up here and rub his nose here, and you'll receive luck in part. Hopefully, you'll have to keep an eye out. I don't remember exactly where, but we will have a break halfway in about 30 minutes. So hopefully that's okay. Right. Looking like we're all here. So everybody, we're just standing at the top of Martin Place here now, which stretches all the way down that way, Martin Place. This is a financial hub and district of Sydney right here in this area, where all the big banks' headquarters are, office workers, business workers, cafes as well. But Martin Place, well, was also named after a man called James Martin, who started life as a newspaper boy, then became the Premier of New South Wales 3 times in the 1860s, then became the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of New South Wales. So not bad on his end. And we also have a statue of him just down there. We're standing here in the shade though, but you might see him as we walk past on the left-hand side, just down the stairs, as a commemoration to him for his help in education, but also when he was just 12 years old, when he had to walk from Parramatta to Sydney every day to get all the way back, which was a good 20 kilometers or 13 miles each way. A fair bit of walking, but apparently it's true. And if you ever find yourself in Parramatta, you'll also find an exact copy of his statue as well, sort of marking out the distances. So not a bad effort from him, the 20 kilometers. But we'll keep walking, heading down Martin Place, not quite 20 k's, but we'll say hello to Martin. Head over this way.
1788 ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് കപ്പലുകളുടെ ആദ്യത്തെ കപ്പലിൻ്റെ വരവോടെയും ഗ്രേറ്റ് ബ്രിട്ടൻ ഒരു പനിൽ കോളനി സ്ഥാപിച്ചതോടെയാണ് നഗരത്തിൻ്റെ ചരിത്രം ആരംഭിക്കുന്നത്. 1788 മുതൽ 1900 വരെ ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് കോളനിയായ ന്യൂ സൗത്ത് വെയിൽസിൻ്റെ തലസ്ഥാനമായിരുന്നു സിഡ്നി. 1842 സിഡ്നി പട്ടണം ഒരു നഗരമായി പ്രഖ്യാപിക്കപ്പെടുകയും ഒരു പ്രാദേശിക ഭരണകൂടം സ്ഥാപിക്കുകയും ചെയ്തു. ചരിത്രപ്രധാനമായ തെരുവുകളും മ്യൂസിയങ്ങളും പര്യവേഷണം ചെയ്യുക, അതുപോലെ അഭിവൃദ്ധി പ്രാപിക്കുന്ന മാർക്കറ്റുകളിലും ആധുനിക റീറ്റെയിൽ കേന്ദ്രങ്ങളിലും ഷോപ്പ് നടത്തുക തുടങ്ങിയവയാണ് സിഡ്നിയിൽ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഏറ്റവും മികച്ച കാര്യങ്ങൾ. ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഈ വിവരണങ്ങൾ തരാൻ കാരണം നമ്മുടെ ഗൈഡിന് ഞാൻ കൊടുത്തിരുന്ന ആ മൈക്ക് അൺസർവീസബിൾ അതിൻ്റെ ചാർജ് തീർന്നു. അത് കാരണം അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ സംഭാഷണം എനിക്ക് കൂടുതൽ റെക്കോർഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് മാത്രമാണ് ഞാനിപ്പോൾ കണ്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഈ പ്രദേശങ്ങളും ഇതിൻ്റെ ചരിത്രങ്ങളിലേക്കും നിങ്ങളുടെ ശ്രദ്ധ കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നത്. ഈ ഊർജ്ജസ്വലമായ നഗരം അതിൻ്റെ നൗകകൾ തെളിഞ്ഞ തുറമുഖത്തിനും അതിമനോഹരമായ ബീച്ചുകൾക്കും അതിൻ്റെ ഉയർന്ന കപ്പൽ ഘടനയുള്ള ഐക്കോണിക് ഓപ്പറ ഹൗസിനും പേരുകേട്ടതാണ്. സിഡ്നി ഹാർബർ ബ്രിഡ്ജ്, ഒപ്പറ ഹൗസ് തുടങ്ങിയ ഐക്കോണുകൾ സന്ദർശിക്കേണ്ട സ്ഥലമാണ് സിഡ്നി. എന്നാൽ ഈ ഹാർബർ സിറ്റി നിരന്തരം വികസിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ആ സ്ഥലത്തെ ലക്ഷ്യമാക്കിയാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ യാത്ര തുടരുന്നത്. ഇനി ഒരു 15-20 മിനിറ്റിനുള്ളിൽ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ആ സ്ഥലത്ത് എത്തിച്ചേരും. അതിൻ്റെ വിശദമായിട്ടുള്ള വിവരങ്ങൾ ആ സമയത്ത് ഞാൻ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തരാം. പുതിയ റൂഫ് ടോപ്പ് ബാറുകളും തിയേറ്റർ ഷോകളും ഡിസൈൻ ഷോപ്പുകളും ഓരോ തെരുവിലും പോപ്പപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. കൂടാതെ മണലിൽ പകൽ മുഴുവൻ കിടന്ന് ഉച്ച കഴിഞ്ഞ് നഗരത്തിൽ പ്രവേശിക്കുക എന്നതൊരു തികച്ചും ആവേശകരമായ ഒരു കാഴ്ചയാണ്. ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ആൾക്കാരുടെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേക ആവേശമാണ് നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ കാണാൻ സാധിക്കുന്നത്. ഈ ടൂറിൻ്റെ മറ്റു വിശേഷങ്ങളുമായി നിങ്ങളിലേക്ക് അടുത്ത എപ്പിസോഡിൽ വരുന്നവരെ എല്ലാവർക്കും നല്ലത് വരട്ടെ, നന്മ വരട്ടെ.